Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk about Black History Month. The month that is a celebration of my people, because I am a black man and everything. And it's about all our accomplishments, all the oppression that we have gone through over like centuries of living in like America and stuff like that. So I'm here today to talk to you about for Black History Appreciation Month, I've decided to talk about LeVar Burton. Also, wish him a happy birthday as today is his birthday and he is 69 years old. So, LeVar Burton, this man is truly a legend in television. And he's one of the first black people I've ever seen on television back in the 80s when I was a little kid. So LeVar Burton, he was actually born in West Germany because his father was stationed over there. His father, LeVar Burton, which he took the stage name of, well, actually, it could be short. I'll tell you why in a little bit later. His father was like a photographer in the army, I believe, the U.S. Army Sentinel Corps, and so like he was like a photographer. His mother was a social worker, an administrator, and an educator. Now, his name is actually very, very, very long. I actually never knew his actual real name. I'm gonna have a hard time saying this. Lavardis Robert Martin Burton Jr. That man got a long name. And it's hard for me to pronounce his first name and stuff. So LeVar could either just be his father's name or it could be like a shorthand name for Lavardis. And I never knew he was actually born in West Germany and stuff, but then grew up in like California. So this man has had so many acting roles, I can't even list them all, but I'm gonna just name his most prominent and stuff, right? So he started acting actually in 1977. And it's a little confusing as to which exactly was his first project. Wikipedia has his first project being called Almost a Man. But like technically he was in the ABC miniseries Roots as Kunta Kinte, and that was in January of 1977. So that Almost a Man, I'm not sure when exactly that came out. Now, he was also in 1977 in a theatrical movie called Looking for Mr. Goodbar with Diane Keaton. Now, of course, many people know him from Star Trek, which I'll get into a little bit later. But I first remember seeing this man in Reading Rainbow. And Reading Rainbow lasted for about 153 like episodes and stuff. And when did Reading Rainbow come out? I'm trying to remember. It lasted for 23 years. It came out in 1983 and it ended in 2006. And I remember watching this on PBS and stuff, like hearing that theme song, seeing him. I think he might have had an afro. I'm not sure. I remember one time seeing him with either an afro, a mustache, maybe. I don't think no Jerry curl, I don't think. But I just remember seeing an afro and a mustache on him at one point. But then he got clean, like shaven, clean cut, and had like the fade. Because, of course, as many people and like who know about Star Trek know that this man played Lieutenant Commander Geordi LaForge in Star Trek The Next Generation for like 178 episodes for 7 seasons. And like I remember, boy, you have no idea how flabbergasted I was. I was shocked. I was surprised. I was in disbelief because I had watched Star Trek, right, and as a kid in the '80s, and of course he wore that visor over his eyes. And I never made the correlation that he was the same guy from Reading Rainbow until he did a Reading Rainbow episode behind the scenes of Star Trek and how certain things are made. I'm like, holy crap, the dude who cusses on Star Trek is the Reading Rainbow guy? Because he has such a soft-spoken, voice on Reading Rainbow, but then on Geordie LaForge, Geordie can, he can insult you to your face and everything, and be a smart mouth and everything. I didn't know it was him because the visor covered his eyes and, it just made him look different. I mean, I was shocked. And of course, also he played Quam in Captain America and the Planeteers for 113 or 115 episodes. And I used to love watching that show and everything. That was a great cartoon, man. I need to look on streaming and see if I can find it. And so one of the things I've always noticed about LeVar Burton is that, I remember in Star Trek Generations, there was a scene that was deleted from the theatrical movie, but later put back in the television movie and the DVD, where his character, when the ship is about to be destroyed and everything like that and crash and stuff like that, they're trying to get everybody to the saucer section and everything. There was a scene where he's running through the corridors and he sees just a bunch of kids around, because back in those days, a Galaxy class starship would have children on it and stuff, which is weird because it's an exploration ship and a military type ship, and they had children on there. And so he made sure he got the kids to safety. And I can't remember exactly what he said on the DVD, but something about I really can't remember. Something that was an important scene to him about, making sure kids are safe and stuff like that. And that was always something really touching, because when you see his work on Reading Rainbow and what he advocates for literacy. He advocates for reading, and I think he was what was he I think the co-founder or the president of something that had to do with banning books and everything and making sure people read them. He always seemed like the type of person to me that always wanted people to be educated. And of course, one way you are educated is you have to read. And of course, that was back in the olden days where people used to read books a lot, but nowadays everybody just reads the internet or they just watch a documentary or something like that on television. And he's also an advocate for AIDS research and stuff. He's been married for ever and stuff. And he has 2 kids. And one of his daughters actually guest starred on Star Trek Picard season 3, playing one of his daughters and stuff. So that was really cool to see. And the man has so many awards, right? He has been nominated for a total of 28 awards, but he has won a total of 29 awards. And when I say this man is legendary, I'm telling you, this man is legendary. I remember on Twitter back in the day, he will always pretty much just say something really short, good morning, y'all, or good night, y'all. But if he did not like you and you was famous, he would be all good morning, y'all, except for such and such person and everything. And he's also directed a couple of stuff, especially Star Trek episodes. And I still can't believe the Reading Rainbow dude is Geordie LaForge, And I remember on the show, he wanted a beard, but they didn't want him to have a beard. So in one episode, he actually had a beard. And he didn't want to wear like the visor because he said, he's an actor. He has to act with his eyes, and people can't see his expression if he has this giant like band around his eyes and stuff. Although I always thought it made him look unique. It gave like a futuristic look. Currently you can actually see him on Trivial Pursuit, which he started starring in 2024 on CW. Happy Black History Month, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.